No, you're only marketing to that niche. You still can take on work outside of it if you want. Did you think that way?
Yeah, and unless I've misunderstood you, that's why I was resistant to doing the niche thing. Like, I wanted to be this everything, this everyman woman thing. And I actually realized that was our undoing, is you sound like everyone else when you are behaving like everyone else.
What's up, agency owners? Jason Swank here with another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, a podcast for the digital agency owner that wants to hear other amazing stories of how agency owners conquered and had success so you can grow your agency faster. If you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into the episode. Hey, James, welcome to the show.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yeah, so tell us who you are and what do you do?
My name's James Kaye. As you can hear, I'm based in the UK. I'm co-founder of a specialist video games PR agency called Big Games Machine.
Awesome. And how did you get started? Did you have plans or are you accidental?
My co-founder and I we're in another agency and we parted ways. So we kind of started with just, terrible cliche, but he lives in Brighton and I live in London, so we weren't even physically together, but like at our kitchen tables. And then it's just one of those things where you kind of, I suppose we were two consultants working together, and then it kind of snowballs and you had to start taking people on. And then we got one guy who weirdly enough lived very near me, so he could come and sit at my kitchen table every day with me. And you kind of hope things snowball from there, and it's it's a very snowball, but grows nonetheless.
Early on, when you were trying to grow the agency, what was like the hardest thing for you?
I've got to keep my answers short here because I end up talking for ages. I think none of this is going to come at any shock to your viewers. I think new business it still remains a constant problem, feeding the pipeline, like lead gen. For any agency owner, that pipeline is your lifeblood. We were pretty good with SEO by chance. We got inbound stuff there. Just learning how to run an agency, this is 9 years ago. I'd never owned an agency before. So you're kind of, that terrible cliche, fail fast. So, just all the time, every day, it's like, okay, what have I screwed up today that I'm going to learn not to screw up tomorrow? Reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of things, a lot of gurus you end up following, who are really influential, very good. Yeah, those just some of the things.
Let's dive into a little bit more around kind of filling the pipeline, because I remember, when I was running my first agency, I was accidental. I kind of just reacted to what the business was coming to me, which was really kind of referrals. That's kind of how we grew and we scaled. Well, I wouldn't say scale because referrals aren't scalable, but like I kind of survived for a couple of years. But then what I realized when I wanted to take it up a notch, I didn't really have a system or something for building that pipeline. So what was the real struggle for you guys around your pipeline in the beginning?
I actually think it's still a struggle to this day to a degree. I have to be really honest with you. What we do as an agency is niche, or niche, as you would pronounce it. We do video games PR, but within that, we're segmented into two halves. One half is consumer, and there's loads of agencies out there globally who are doing, consumer video games PR. But where we've really found our footing, and I'll go into it later, is B2B for the video games industry. And so when you get to a point where you're very specialist, it becomes very hard for a third party to represent you and talk eloquently and in a sophisticated enough manner and with passion and everything else about you doing that. So I think what I've found in terms of the pipeline is I've tried pretty much everything over the years to greater or lesser degrees, right? So I've done the cold email thing. doesn't really work. Yeah. And I've actually just done it again because I thought I haven't tried it for ages. Let's try it again. We lasted 2 months. You can't judge ROI in 2 months because something can take 6 months or more to turn into business, even 12 months plus. So the true ROI isn't really apparent in any case from some of these things immediately. But we try cold email, doesn't work. I took on a really good LinkedIn agency. And once again, I'll talk to it more, but we were too generalist in our approach to get leads. And because we doubled down on doing certain things now and increased our business, that would possibly be more successful. I get all these companies ring me all the time in the UK going, we guarantee you 4 in-person qualified lead phone calls every month, and we only want you to pay us, £4,000 a month, which I don't know, $6,000 or whatever. And I'm like, thank you, no thank you. We're just too specialist for you, and our clients are all over the globe, world. And so to what you said earlier, I actually still think word of mouth is really important. And that's, I think, as you get good work under your belt and happy clients, they'll recommend you to other people. So I think my expectation when I started of us picking up business was too big for what it was in reality. For a PR agency, it's just body of work, word of mouth. Other digital agencies, they could do amazing campaigns and grow a lot quicker and even get bought in a short space of time. But I'm still learning. I think I will shut up in a minute. I took on an agency head of new business marketing. She was really good, but she went on maternity leave. She came back and she decided to leave us after that because of the terrible cost of childcare in England meant, she had to earn more money. I've got someone now who is a specialist from within the games industry, within our sector, who really gets us, has a lot of contacts, and is getting us really good quality meetings and leads. And then finally, it's just pounding the pavement and going to events and also doing LinkedIn, trying to do LinkedIn well, which I still don't know if I'm necessarily doing it well.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things out there that there's so many options for us. It's kind of, we're like drowning in the different options, but we're like really kind of starving for those things that actually work, because all these things that are flooded to us, it's kind of like a huge kind of rapid amount of water of traps, right? There's people reaching out like the Guaranteed. And whenever I think of the Guaranteed, I always think of one of my favorite movies, Tommy Boy. It's like, look, if you want Guaranteed, I can mark Guaranteed on a box, crap in it, and mark a Guaranteed, but you know what's in the box. And people keep falling for it. Look, I even fell for it a couple months ago. We hired a lead gen agency and they were horrible. Like, we thought they were really good and they just didn't work. So what was the one thing? Let's get into kind of what really kind of turned around or what you found, because you were telling me there was one thing that doubled revenue by a little small change. What was that?
Am I allowed to name check someone that like a guru, an agency growth guru? Because I know obviously, you're great, but there are a plethora of people out there giving fantastic advice. So the guy who I've been following for a while is a guy called Carl Sakas. He's an agency growth guru specialist. And I booked onto one, he does his boot camp every year. And I booked onto it. It's like, I don't know, 8 weeks or something. And it was agency owners and it was just video. It was in the pandemic, actually, that I did it. And he just works you through a system of how, loads of ideas of how to grow your agency and just throwing loads of great ideas at you. And one of the sessions, he gives a really good sheet out where he goes, here's 25 ideas to grow your agency, right? So like quick wins, things you can just do to increase revenues. And one of them was be a specialist. Like, get yourself into a niche, get yourself in something where you can add value. And the problem we had up until that point, and it's kind of faintly ridiculous when I tell you how we were operating, is, as I said, we were B2B and consumer. We are now. But I didn't land a piece of consumer work because someone said, oh, you don't look games enough. You don't look enough like a games agency. And we used to be called Big Ideas Machine, and we were kind of a generalist tech PR agency, and we hadn't really found our feet. And so I said, all right, let's create this other brand called Big Games Machine, which is what we are now. And that's going to say we're a games agency and we're going to do consumer PR, but Big Ideas Machine is going to continue operating as a catch-all generalist B2B PR agency tech. Like, we're just messy. We're running 2 brands at once, 2 websites. It's like crazy. Like, anyone who knows anything now would go, what are you doing? Anyway, we really sat back and realized we come from the games industry. You know, I've been in it for 25 years. My business partner's been in it for 25 years. That's what we know. And when he looks at the B2B section of the business, he's like, but all our clients are games industry people. There's no one here, you know, because I was resistant to kind of doubling down on the game stuff. I had this dream that I just want to be a generous B2B tech PR agency, getting no traction, cold emails, nothing whatsoever. So to find a point on it, we got rid of Big Ideas Machine. We consolidated under one brand, Big Games Machine, which had the better SEO. We said, right, our proposition is we're consumer and B2B for the global video games industry. Single brand, proposition, niche thing, because no one else really does B2B for the games industry, or not like we do. And that's it. We're kind of, you know, I don't want to make it sound too easy, but the rest is history, in the sense that when I go to people now and I'm like, we do B2B for the games industry, kind of no one else does that. They understand the problem that we're solving. And we do consumer as well. It's a huge part of our business, but that's really the traction. So we just double down on that one thing. We were very clear, and that resonates with people because we're solving a problem.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love Carl. I chat with him often, and he's a good dude.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, if you're going to pump someone I hate, I'm like, we're going to delete that one.
He's like, too nice. He's like a lovely teddy bear of a man. He's just a very lovely man.
Definitely is. Yeah, we just launched a free masterclass. If everyone goes to agencymastery360.com/attract, it's all on this. It's about figuring out, how can I get my clarity for who I need to go after? And then once you have that clarity, how can you actually position? And we actually walk you through exactly and give you a whole system that's very easy for you to execute in order to position your agency so you don't sound like everyone else. That's the key. Is it's not only about positioning, or it's not only about picking a niche, but it's also about positioning it and then figuring out, how do I position myself so I don't look like everybody else, in order to really separate yourself. And one of the big mistakes, and you tell me if you went through this when you were picking your niche and really kind of narrowing down, I find a lot of people don't want to miss out. And I find the biggest mistake when people are figuring out their niche is, well, I need to say no to all the other business. And I'm like, no, you're only marketing to that niche. You still can take on work outside of it if you want. Did you think that way?
Yeah, and unless I've misunderstood you, that's why I was resistant to doing the niche thing. Like, I wanted to be this everything, you know, this everyman woman thing. And I actually realized that was our undoing, is you sound like everyone else when you are behaving like everyone else. And you're like, especially if you look at the tech PR world, you know, you've got very clear verticals within the TR world, right? You've got like prop tech, fintech, health tech, you know, like anybody says they're a generalist PR agency, for example, B2B, because most of those are B2B for argument's sake, but it can be consumer. That's not the right thing. Like, I cannot possibly go into a vertical like healthcare and proclaim I actually get healthcare just because I've read some stuff. I have to have demonstrable, you know, that's why the agency, our mantra is always show, don't tell. Yeah, like, for clients, so we tell our clients, we're not going to bang on about how great we are. We're never going to self-reference. We're just going to say to someone, this is your problem. This is how we solved it for other people. We really speak your language, because the comfort they get is that you speak their language and you get them. That's the number one thing. That's what wins the business. If I go to someone in healthcare and go, hey, we're a video games PR agency, but we're really smart. We understand PR and we can do B2B. They can be like, you don't understand my sector. You're not from it. You're not authentic. And so, yeah, I mean, I very much see that resistance I had as like baseless now when I think about it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and what we also see is once you get clarity of who you're going after, how you position yourself, now you know what kind of content do I need to create in order to really draw people in And then also too, you can also develop real outbound strategies, not through these stupid gurus that say, I guarantee this crap, or any of the people running those BS ads. And you know who you are. It drives me crazy whenever I see those ads. I'm like, my favorite one is how to build a $100 million agency. And I so want to comment and say, yeah, start at 200 million.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think they're all snake oil salesmen out there. I think there's authentic people. And I think when you're looking at the people to come promise you the world, you sometimes do have to just drop some money and test it and see and get, references and stuff like that. So, I'm British, I'm very cynical. So,
yeah. Well, I always tell everybody is when you see those, because yes, I do agree, there's a lot of legitimate people out there, but check out all their work. See if they've put out tons of content like Carl or whoever else. Yeah. And if you don't see that and you just see a landing page, a Facebook ad, chances are you might not be happy with what you're getting. So just a word to the wise. I've fallen for them, and that's why I'm so passionate on is I don't want people to fall the same trap. I already made the mistake so many times. Don't let me be the one that falls on the sword for you, so you guys can walk over unscathed.
I think you said something really interesting about content. And really, if I look at the behaviors of the people that I wish to emulate, and some of these names are going to resonate, and they're not agency people. If I look at Brian Dean, who runs Backlinko, if I look at Neil Patel, most people know who Neil Patel is, but he's got a team of people doing stuff for him, with Uber Suggest and his services. And someone like Carl, the common thing for all of them is they are putting out amazing content that talks to me and solves my problems. And by association, I want to follow them or even pay them money at some point to do something for me. The biggest advice, I think, for someone to fill their pipeline and to do that is, because I said we're a B2B agency and we're talking about B2B practices now in us as an agency. And often I joke who markets the marketers, who watches the watchers, because we're not very good at doing it ourselves. So don't necessarily rush to our site and expect to get the most amazing content ever. We always say to clients, you've got to gain trust. How do you gain trust? You answer your prospects' problems. How do you answer those problems? You create really good content that does it. Now, whether that's a podcast as you're doing, whether that's a short blog post, a newsletter, LinkedIn post, whatever it is, if you can just demonstrate that you understand their problems and that you can offer them solutions, that's the best thing, the single best thing you can do for any of your prospects, period.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this has been amazing. James, is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if I've been able to help anyone today or shine a light, but, I think my parting comment is, even after 9 years as an agency owner, there's 19 of us. So we're not, a small agency. I think we're kind of mid-sized maybe. I'm still screwing up. I'm still learning. I'm still doing the do. I don't know if you ever get to this point where the answers are incredibly apparent, but certainly if they come to people such as yourself, Jason, and just who they trust and is just going to give them loads of really good advice and not expect anything in return, that's probably the best thing you can do to sort of try and learn from other people's mistakes.
Yep, exactly. Well, I've made millions and billions of mistakes. And if any of you out there want to learn from just some of our mistakes, make sure you go to swankit.com, and that will link over to our YouTube channel. And obviously YouTube is free, and we have our free masterclass and all kinds of interviews out there. So make sure you guys go subscribe, check it out. I think we have over 1,000 videos that we published in the past 9 years. So you don't have to go through all of them, but there are a lot of mistakes we've made. And even for the ones that are thinking about even creating content, go back to the first couple videos and you'll see how bad they are. And you'll see the progression to get a little bit better and a little bit better. And we still got a long way to go. So, but thanks so much for coming on. And until next time, have a swank day.